So I finally finished Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, and I gotta say, this was an overall good season to Power Rangers to continue that momentum from Power Rangers in space. There were some things here and there that I would have personally tweeted, but it was a great season, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. So let's just jump right into it. I'm about to give you my quick thoughts on Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
So that's the way you want it.
So this Power Rangers season continued after the events of Power Rangers in Space, which was fantastic. I love that season. I love that show. I love that team. But anyway, this is Lost Galaxy now. Continues after the events of Power Rangers in Space, and the gist of this whole thing was a colony of humans trying to find a new home. You know, we follow Terra Venture, the guys on that spaceship, and also some people that come together and form the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers was formed in a pretty scattered way this time around. It's not like a bunch of friends that already knew each other and hey, you guys are the Power Rangers now. No, you got people from different walks of life. We get to see Leo, we got to see Kendricks, we got to see Kai, we got to see Damon, and we get to see Maya. And they're all introduced in a different way. Now, I'm not going to go through every single episode because we're going to be here all day. You know, I'm not trying to bore you guys to death with all that stuff. But we're going to talk about these key moments. And I just want to first talk about the Power Rangers itself. Like, let's start off with Damon. Damon was the Green Ranger, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't really get as attached to Damon as I wanted him to be. Like, I felt like his character left so much to be desired. I felt like they was holding back in a way when it came to Damon. He was the mechanic. He was the overall good guy. He loved helping people and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I felt like we could have got a little bit more character from Damon in a way. Towards the end, I would say, of this season, you get to see the Power Rangers step up and I guess reach their full potential. But it was a bit of a chore getting through some of these character arcs in the beginning. But Damon, getting back to him, pretty solid. Talk about Kai. This guy rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was that, you know, to the book, I'm gonna maintain order type of ranger, especially in the beginning. He was just like all uptight, man. He was all up in Leo's face. I remember those episodes where he didn't really like Leo too much. He just looked down upon him and things like that. Like, you don't belong here type of. That's the vibe that I got from Kai. I wasn't really rocking with him too much, but when you break down his character, he just wanted to maintain order and then get the job done. You get to see him and Leo's bond strengthen over the course of the season, but I mean, Kai, I really didn't care too much for. Maya. Let's talk about Maya. Probably up until this point, my favorite Yellow Ranger. She is the spiritual guide of this entire thing. Her homeland is where they pull the Quasar Sabers from, and you know, she's very important to this team. She gets to see vision, she sees dreams, she sees things before it happens. She's a great fighter. The emotion, to me, I'm gonna be honest, this woman, when we talk about Rangers that was on the team, this was my favorite Ranger. I love Maya. She just had aura, she had presence, she was brave, she was a person that took sacrifices, and like, she endured a lot. Like, she had to leave her home to just band up with a group of strangers in a world she wasn't familiar about, and she had to make it work. She had heart. She loved everybody. Like, Maya was, oh man, I love Maya. Maya was such a great Ranger, a great addition to the team. By like episode 5 and 6, I was just like, yo, she is still in the show. You know what I'm saying? I'm respect Leo as a Leo, but she's still in the show. Talk about Kendricks. Kendricks, great. You know, she was a great overall Ranger. You know, she just kept the team together. She was more so the glue. She's intelligent. She was a great fighter. She knew how to get out of certain situations. She was a person that did a lot of deep research when it came to, you know, finding the Zords and things like that. Kendricks was great, and she became one of the more important Rangers, especially towards the middle of the season. Now I'm gonna get to that in a second. She had a bit of an emotional moment. But Kendricks, awesome Pink Ranger. I feel like she's definitely up there as one of the top Pink Rangers that I've seen so far. Let's talk about Leo. Leo, I'm gonna be honest, in the beginning, I didn't know how to feel about Leo. I didn't know if I was gonna attach myself to Leo. I was just like, I wasn't getting it in the beginning. I see what they was trying to do, but about time we got to that middle part of the season, I was like, okay, Leo's a dope Red Ranger. Leo, I love Leo's story. And this, what they did with Leo was something that I wish they kind of did with TJ, because TJ, the reason why he wasn't the best Red Ranger in my eyes was the lack of character development. He had the look, he had the presence, he had the fighting ability, but it was just lack of story. Why should I care about you? You know what I'm saying? So when I look at a Ranger like Leo, you got somebody who wasn't the first choice. He wasn't the first choice. He wasn't a choice at all to be on the colony, the ship adventure, whatever they was doing. And he wasn't even the chosen Red Ranger. He faced doubts throughout this whole season of, should I really be in this predicament? My brother Mike was the one that pulled the Quasar Saber. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in, like, should I really be the Red Ranger or should it be Mike? And I like how they tackled that. Oh, I like how they tackled that. You was with him on a journey. Why should I care about you? And I felt like when they made Leo's character development, they gave him a story from the beginning, and then a leader with doubt until a leader with confidence. They established that Leo was one of the best Red Rangers that I've seen thus far. So the Power Rangers are all chosen by pulling the Quasar Sabers. It was the chosen 5 at this point. It was Mike, not Leo. A few more minutes later, we find Mike in a pit, and Leo is holding on to Mike, and Mike actually gives the Quasar Saber of the Red Ranger to Leo, and he was just like, carry this on for me. And then Leo fell down the pit. And trust me, the show did not let us forget that moment, because I seen this man fall in this same pit so many times. I'm doing the recap in every Power Ranger episode of him falling down. They got to get better with these recaps. They got to get better with these recaps. You know how many times I saw this? I'm on episode like 13, 14, and I'm still seeing this brother falling out of the pit like this. What's going on? But by Leo taking that Red Ranger Quasar Saber, it plays into his story of him being a doubtful leader of like, oh man, this really is supposed to be my brother's role. I got to be the best Power Ranger that I can be. I have to make sure that what happened to him doesn't be wasted. And I like the direction that they took there. Of course, this is Power Rangers. We got to have our villains, right? This go around is Scorpius and Trakina. Scorpius is Trakina's dad, who's at full power, but he's this weird bug thing. And when you reach a full power, you turn into an insect. And I like how they kind of tackled that whole thing of when Scorpius was like, okay, Trakina, it's time for you to reach your full potential. And Trakina's like, I'm not going to give up my beauty to become a bug. Even though I would reach my maximum power, I don't want to give up my beauty to become an insect. That question kind of comes back up towards the end of the season, but I think giving villains layers as well, giving them struggles as well, attaches ourselves as the viewer to their stories and who they are, why are they doing what they're doing. But with that being said, I don't think they was the greatest villains to follow up the great Astronomer and Ecliptor. I mean, like, that duo to me was just, I love it. Anything Power Rangers in space, I got a soft spot for. But were they good? They were better than Divatox. You way better than King Mondo, you know what I'm saying? And the Empire, you know what I'm saying? But to follow up Astronomer and Ecliptor, I felt like with bringing in Trakina, they tried to, I seen little things of Astronomer that they tried to establish in Trakina, and I wasn't really buying into it, in my personal opinion. I feel like they tried to make another Astronomer, and I wasn't really buying it, you know what I'm saying? I see what they were trying to do, you know what I'm saying? Astronomer was great. I love Astronomer, but she kind of came off as a ripoff, especially in the beginning. When things started to turn up, is when my boy, the OG Magna Defender, pulled up to the scene. You talk about aura, you talk about presence, you talk about that dude that you don't want to be on the wrong side of. The Magna Defender was that dude. He was the reason why Lost Galaxy started to shift into a different gear. I can't say shift into turbo, that's the wrong show. But he's the reason why this show shifted into that next gear. When he pulled up and he started to take out the enemies, he was that rebel. He was that He was, oh, we love a good rebel. We love a good anti-hero. Just like everybody else, the Magna Defender had a story. Magna Defender was obsessed with revenge because Scorpius took out Magna Defender's son. You talking about, yo, Power Rangers, they was really trying it with this one. They took out a kid. They took out a kid, a baby. You know what I'm saying? And the Magna Defender, when he pulled up, he didn't care who you are. He didn't care if you was good, bad. You was gonna catch these hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take out Scorpius by any means necessary. And I like the fact that they try to have him and Leo have a bit of a connection because, you know, Magna Defender had saved Leo at one point throughout the season, and then Leo saw the good in Magna Defender. But Magna Defender was so obsessed with revenge that he didn't see himself as a good guy anymore, and he was struggling with that. He was struggling with that until his final moments. So whenever the Rangers was in battle, you'll see the Magna Defender pulled up, and that's when I'll sit up. He had his own music and everything. Magna Defender. Probably one of my favorite Power Ranger characters up until this point. This dude was an absolute savage. And I liked the fact that he added a little bit of spice to the season. Because like I said, I was just riding this wave, you know, just in cruise control. But when he pulled up and we found out the reason why he is the way he is now and he wants revenge for his son, me as a viewer, I was like, okay, I want to see him get his revenge. I want to see him take out Scorpius. I want him and Scorpius to have that 1v1 and have Magna Defender finally get his revenge. You know, by this point in the show, Leo was wrestling with the fact that, is his brother Mike really going after he fell through the pit? And when he was around Magna Defender, he felt this connection like, yo, is this my brother? Like, why do I feel Mike's presence through the Magna Defender? Leo was just like, my brother isn't gone. He's not deleted. He's still here, and I feel it. Is the Magna Defender my brother? And we seen that he had this attachment towards the Magna Defender. After Magna Defender sacrificed himself and he reunited with his son, there goes Mike. Mike is still alive. After Leo is reunited with Mike, we go through this point where Leo is just like, yo, should I give the Quasar Saber to Mike because he was the one that pulled it? He should be the Red Ranger right now. Mike is like, yo, like, this is your destiny, bro. Like, you're the Red Ranger for a reason, okay? We later in that same episode see Magna Defender's spirit comes back and he gives his powers to Mike. So Mike becomes a new Magna Defender. I ain't gonna lie. Whenever the OG Magna Defender pulls up, I get excited. It's something about, he just feels so legit, man. When he pulled up, he gave Mike his powers and he became the Magna Defender of the team. He became the 6th Ranger, you know what I'm saying? And he was a great addition to the team. This is when things get a little shaky. The Power Rangers end up taking out Scorpius in this random fight. Scorpius is just like, I'm gonna just handle him on my own. And Leo is the one that slays Scorpius. This was error number 1 for me because I felt like Magna Defender had this beef with Scorpius. Magna Defender was obsessed with taking out Scorpius. He didn't. He gave his powers to Mike. Now, it would have been a little cliche. It would have been. But I felt like the Magna Defender, the current Magna Defender, who was Mike, should have taken out Scorpius for the OG Magna Defender. The least you can do is take out the monster that took out my son. I wasn't really feeling that too much, man. I felt like the wrong person slayed Scorpius. Scorpius ends up passing away. Trakina gets upset. You know, she's on her journey now. She wants to become more evil and things like that. And, you know, she becomes the main villain of the show. Okay, so one of my favorite parts of this entire season, the In-Space Rangers pull up. I get to see Andros once again. I got to see TJ. I got to see Ashley. I got to see Cassie. And I even got to see Carlos. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was good to see my team back. I have a soft spot for this team. And when they showed up and they teamed up with the Lost Galaxy Rangers to fight the Psycho Rangers. To fight the Psycho Rangers. The Psycho Rangers made a return, bro. The Psycho Rangers, and we already knew the smoke that they gave the In Space Rangers and Power Rangers in Space. When they pulled up, I was just like, oh, these Lost Galaxy Rangers don't know what they're getting themselves into. They ain't no regular monsters. The Psycho Rangers was all about giving hands, feet, and ankles to them In Space Rangers, was having the Rangers doubt themselves. You know what I'm saying? They had to change up their colors to try to defeat the Psycho Rangers at one point. You know, when the Psycho Rangers pulled up, I was like, okay, y'all got me with this one. Y'all got me with this one, you know? But that moment where they had all the Rangers morph, they was playing the In Space song, and then it was this smooth transition into the Lost Galaxy theme. One of the best transitions that I've ever witnessed in television. Yo, and when they play that Go Power Rangers, Go Power Rangers, I was just like, I'm ready to watch the whole season again. But it was a great crossover episode. So you got Lost Galaxy Rangers, In Space Rangers, and the Magna Defender. What a freaking moment. I'm just like, oh, they all eating with this one. My favorite episode. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That was my favorite episode. And it was just good to see them back and, you know, defeating evil. My In Space Rangers, my gang, my crew, my peoples, man. This is when things get a little intense. Cassie from In Space and Kendricks is in a battle with Psycho Pink. The other Psycho Rangers ends up getting taken out except for Psycho Pink. So Psycho Pink is just like, I'm gonna just try to do this on my own. Psycho Pink ends up stabbing Cassie's morpher or whatever, and it creates this big chain reaction. And the only way to destroy this is to destroy the sword. She breaks the sword, and Kendricks is a spirit now. You know, this was like the first time up until this point, I do believe a Power Ranger was deleted, you know? And I was just like, oh, this season's getting a little dark here. It's getting a little dark. We took a risk here, but I like it. And this showed the lengths that Power Rangers was willing to go. They was willing to sacrifice one of their own to deepen the story, to drive that emotion with the viewer. I love that risk. And by them doing that, we got to see the return of good old Karone, the former astronomer, an in-space legend, a Power Rangers legend, one of the best villains that I've ever watched. She returned, and we get to see her redemption story. He becomes the Pink Ranger, and we get to see her redemption story. She fights with that doubt of, can I actually be good? I have to face my past. And they had an episode where Karone had to fight Astronomer. She had to defeat her old self. She had to defeat, oh my gosh. They was cooking. I'm a sucker for In Space. I'm a sucker for Astronomer as a villain. I love Karone as a Pink Ranger. She was awesome. You know, she took the torch, we would say Quasar Saber, and she ran with it. I felt like she was a great Pink Ranger. We didn't get too much time with her, I feel like, because I do believe about time she got the powers, what it was about like less than 15 episodes left. So we didn't get as much time with her as the Pink Ranger, but I loved seeing her on the team, and I loved seeing her get that redemption. And that was an awesome moment. That was an awesome moment because I was a huge fan of Astronomer, and I loved seeing Karone come back. Something that I didn't expect, but I loved it. There was some shaky decision making as I was watching, because I felt like this show could have ended with a huge bang. This legit could have been way more emotionally driven than what they gave us. And I just felt like if there was a plan A and a plan B to how we should end this, I felt like they gave us plan C. The safest way. And I was just like, y'all had it. Y'all had the story right there. But anyway, let's talk about this ending real quickly. So, as the colony, because we still got to remember, the colony they're trying to find a new home. Boom. So the colony finds a new home. They're thinking that everything is all good. And we, of course, get that final showdown. And you can see the glimpses of them trying to do another countdown to destruction, you know, chasing the space-time revive, you know, but more so countdown to destruction. You see little things here and there. I seen little takeaways from both, you know. I like those moments. I love season finales of Power Rangers now because you just see these epic battles. Like, it's just all out war, bro. And I love it. But I felt like they took the safe route. Mike, who has 1,001 lives, ends up sacrificing himself and opens the portal. And mind you, he's out of the space, like he's in space fighting. His thing blows up. And I'm thinking like, oh snap, did they really take out Mike again? Like, is he really gone? But he did that by him sacrificing himself. It did open up a portal for the colony or whatever to get through. He did something. He did something major. And then it's just like Leo's trying to find him, and he's floating in the air like he's Sora from Kingdom Hearts. After you get a game over, everybody who played Kingdom Hearts, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know when Sora's just floating like this? He's floating like this in space, and I'm just like, okay. Listen, I know I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief. I know this is Power Rangers, but like, come on. He's not even in his suit. He's not even in his suit. It's just bare Mike like this. Like he's Sora. And I'm just like, okay. Y'all really could have just took him out. It would have made the stakes a little bit better. But Mike is still alive, and he loses the powers of the Magna Defender. So he's absolutely useless at this point. You know what I'm saying? From a Power Ranger standpoint, he's useless. So we get the final showdown between Leo and Trakina, who by this point is just like, she's so obsessed with getting full power. Remember, she was fighting with, should I sacrifice my beauty to get full power? She was wrestling with that in the beginning. She was so obsessed with being this evil force that she was just like, forget all that. I'm gonna turn into this insect. I want to become full power. Her and Leo have one final battle, and Leo blows her up with a close range shot. And we get that visual of Leo with the helmet, and his one side is cracked open, and this shot that I've been seeing all over my social media. Like, I finally seen it for myself. Now, there were certain things that I got spoiled on throughout this season that I've seen before, but I couldn't wait to get to this point. What was the battle that got to this, this broken helmet, and you get to see it. And by this point, Leo has the confidence from a doubtful leader to a confident leader. And it just shows that, like, it was a bigger message. And this is what I say, Power Rangers is bigger than a kid show to me, because if you're 4, 5, 6, you're not gonna really understand like the magnitude of like having like somebody who's a leader. Imagine yourself, you get chosen to be in this role, but you in the back of your mind are feeling like, should I really be here? Like, am I really the leader to be cut out for this job? Should it be somebody else? Being chosen second or third, like how that could mentally affect your mind. And Leo's story kind of shows like, you don't have to be chosen first to be a pretty strong leader. You can be put in a leadership position and you can grow throughout the journey. All the hardships, all the sacrifices, all the battles that Leo had to go through, he had to gain that confidence. In order for him to lead this team, in order for him to survive, he had to gain that confidence. And by the end of this whole Lost Galaxy, by him taking out Trakina on his own, 1v1, without no Zords. I mean, he had the little thing attached to him. She blew her away, but he did it 1v1 style. And I'm excited there. And by that point, he became one of the best Red Rangers. That moment right there, that sacrifice. He was willing to sacrifice himself to save his colony and his Rangers. Leo, one of the best Red Rangers. I don't know if he's on Android's level, but he's one of the best, okay? You know what I'm saying? With all respects to Leo for that. Overall, this was a solid season of Power Rangers for me. I had fun. I had some moments here and there that I really enjoyed, I loved. Questionable decisions, in my opinion. Now, y'all can disagree, but just hear me out for a second. So Mike, as the Magna Defender, should have taken out Scorpius. By doing that, Trakina would set her journey on taking out who's this current Magna Defender. By the season finale, I would have had Trakina take out the Magna Defender. So that motivates Leo to get his revenge, to avenge his brother's death. So by Trakina taking out the person who took out her dad, You know, she's like, I got my revenge. Leo's like, you took out my brother. Now we gotta settle this one-on-one. Y'all Rangers, y'all stay over there. Me and her, we gotta handle some business. So we get a full power Trakina and we get Leo. And we could have got that same visual. We could have had one epic battle. Trakina, Leo. We got the person who's avenging her father's death. You got the person who's avenging the person that took out his brother. It was sitting right there, but I feel like they took the safest route possible. The safest route. And I was just like, man, oh man, bro. This joint was so safe. Y'all took the safest route. When everybody was destroyed, you know, the Power Rangers put the Quasar Sabers back. I'm assuming, I don't know if that technically means that they're not Power Rangers no more. And then Kendricks comes back, and I'm just like, okay, you know, she wasn't a contributing factor to the final battle. I would have had her appear in the sky like this in the Final Fantasy VII, like she's Aerith or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all could have, there was no reason for Kendricks to come back. There was no reason. If she wasn't going to contribute to the final battle, why is she showing up? She should have just appeared in the sky. That just lessened the sacrifice. It's just like, by the point, like, I'm watching this and it's like the last minute and I'm just like, what? Questionable decisions. Overall, I'm going to give this a 7.5 season. It was a great season. Had some moments. There was just some questionable decision making. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't as attached to the Rangers. They was a good team, but I like Maya, I like Leo, and I love Karone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, those are the Rangers that I like. Other than that, everybody else was pretty solid. I'm not going to take away their roles as Rangers, but I just wasn't connected to them as much. But here we go. We got Power Rangers Lost Galaxy in the books finally. I know it took me forever to get there, but we got there, my peoples. Let me know what y'all think. There's a whole bunch I'm quite sure I didn't speak about, but that's what the comment section is for. If there's certain things that you want to talk about that I didn't talk about here, or whether you agree, disagree with what I'm saying, hit your boy up in the comment sections. Always be respectful as always. And I'm on to the next Power Ranger season, which is, I think it's Lightspeed Rescue. I think this is that timeline. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Your boy's finally done with Lost Galaxy. It's been a journey to get there, but we got there. So, if you like this video, hit it with a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Show your brother some love. Until the next video, your boy the Wildcat J. Troy. It's out.